Hello, Muse. It is I again, your faithful, handy, dandy artist. Do you call me artist? What do you call me? Do you call me by name? Do you say, yeah, my Jack is doing that again? That doesn't make any sense because I'm not a Jack. I'm just Jack. Just Jack. And I know that you don't have a name, Muse, other than Muse. Maybe one of these days you will impart upon me what your name is. Anyway, we don't need to go around about on this topic. We have other things to talk about. I want to talk about something that's a little bit different today. I don't want to talk about the process of writing or the process of acting. I want to talk about art. This little chat was inspired by a meme I saw on the Book of Face. I know. Memes. People just got a meme. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I couldn't help that. So as I was scrolling through the Book of Face the other day, scroll. What's going on? My my phone is locked up. I don't know if everything's working, but I'll assume it is. I use my phone as a monitor, so I know that I'm in frame. And I just looked down and I was not moving, but I know I am moving. But anyway, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a picture. And it was a cartoon. It was a very despondent figure. There was no reason why the figure was despondent. It was just filled with gloom. And across the shirt it said me, I think. And there were some other people around that figure pointing their fingers, obviously with much disdain. And the assumption being that the figures around me were all of the troubles that character was experiencing, be it financial or relationship or political or friendship or anything, whatever. And the next frame, the character was growing even further despondent. I'm going to do something about that so it doesn't burn it up. And in the final frame, the character called me approached another character, which was across that character's chest was the word art. And the character embraced art, and the despondency went away. Of course, the comments were very typical, and that's not a bad thing. They were along the lines of Me Too, not as in hashtag Me Too, but I feel this as well. I also take refuge in art. And I've been a proponent of everyone in any country, regardless of where you live or what you are suffering from, to seek out art as a means to a comforted end. And art could be anything. Art could be a painting. Art could be a television show, a movie, a piece of music, a piece of theater. It could be acting, it could be writing, it could be dancing, it could be sculpting, it could be painting. It could be designing or directing. Whatever it is that is art to you, whatever it is that is important, an important creation for you. Because I have always believed that the act of creation not only is a very fulfilling act, but it is an act that gets us closer to who we are. And I think that for a very long time, those that know me, those that care about me, and those that know me the best, know that I know who I am. And some people would say I know who I am more so than most people they know. And I believe fully that the reason why I know who I am is because I always turn to art, turn to my craft. And in exercising that craft, in doing everything I can to perfect that craft, I draw nearer and nearer to myself. And yes, that does cause some problems for me in real life. And again, you could ask anybody that cares for me and knows me well, that I tend to live my life neck deep in my art. I get so focused on what I'm doing, what I'm working on, be it a book or a play, that reality can tend to slip away from me. And I kind of forget that I have to actually live in reality. And the moment that I'm living in is the moment that is actually on the page or the stage. And that does cause me problems in my relationships sometimes. And I have to stop and remind myself, I have to pull myself out. And that is one of the hardest things to do, because I know that within my art, therein lies a world of safety. Even if I'm writing or performing in something dangerous, and I don't mean literal dangerous, I mean metaphorical danger. Like, for example, I'm writing Dracula Theory right now, which is obviously a book about Dracula, a book about vampires, and it's dangerous. Not the writing of it, the writing's not dangerous, but the world within that book there's danger. And even though I know that there is danger and angst and turmoil in that world, there is none of that in the act of creating it. In the act of creating it, for me, there is unheard of joy and connection and safety. Because I often feel like when I am creating that I am existing on another plane. That reality is what I choose to make it. And it's only when I pull away from that creation that I have to involve myself with the true reality of existence. And that's kind of when the cloud of angst forms over my head and pours down rain. This gray, acidic rain. And so I choose to live in those other worlds quite often. And sometimes have to be pulled out of them, be it unwillingly or not. And so, to anybody that's going through anything right now, or anytime, turn to art. Listen to music. Go to a play. Audition for a play. Write a book. Or maybe not a book if you've never written before. Write a story. Write your story. Write something. So you can, at least for a brief moment, disconnect from that reality out there. And you can play inside a new reality, one of your creation, or one of the creation of someone else, if you're listening to someone else's music. But really dive into it and truly experience it, because I think when you truly experience art, you're truly experiencing existence on a completely different plane. And the same holds true for when you're creating art and when you're truly involved with that creation. You exist on another plane. And I know that might sound a little metaphysical or esoteric or whatever, but I believe in it. And I believe wholeheartedly that art, that other plane, is something that has helped me to survive the tougher times in my life. And I've had plenty of them. And I mean, you can certain musicians, you can see it on their face when they are playing. It's transcendent. That if you catch them at the right moment, they aren't there anymore. Watch Hilary Hahn, the violinist, or old recordings of Jacqueline Dupree. You can see it on their face that they vanish for a moment. They're so locked in to their creation that they no longer exist in this reality. They may not know it. They may think they're still here, and physically they are still here. And I've had those moments before on stage. I remember a very long time ago, I was playing Amadeus in the play Amadeus, and this happened to me a lot during that show because I felt so deeply connected to this that in the middle of a performance, all of a sudden, I was watching myself. And it was almost like an out-of-body experience where I was in the audience looking at me. And it's, I'm not talking about, there are instances, there are sometimes when you're, you might hear a director say, you don't need to comment on what you're performing on stage. You don't need to be viewing yourself. And what they mean by that is you don't need to be constantly monitoring what you're doing on stage. Instead of you need to be in the moment. And sometimes when you get wrapped up in the moment so deeply, everything is you transcend who you are to become that person. And in that moment, you only exist there. And I've had the same thing happen when I'm writing. I'll be writing something and I'll be so involved, so deeply connected with what I'm writing that's all, that world in front of me that I'm creating is the only thing that exists. And when that happens, there are times when I have trouble pulling away from it because I step away from what I'm writing and I'm thinking, okay, did what I just write happen to me, or am I losing my mind? And so when that happens, you do have to step back and say, okay, this is reality, this is fiction. But at the same time, that happened for a reason. It either happened because it needed to, so you could actually create whatever it is you're working on and to the level that is necessary, or it was your subconscious saying you need to escape reality. You need to get away because something, be it a person or a thing or an event, is persecuting you, and you're not going to survive intact if you don't vanish for a bit. Because our minds work in that kind of way. Our minds and our bodies will tell us what we need. Sometimes they won't just tell us. Sometimes they'll just make us. They'll just force us into what we need. It's like all of a sudden I'm desperately craving pretzels, and it's because your body needs salt. And then sometimes you'll be watching something on television and you get so involved in what's happening that everything else vanishes. That's probably because your mind's saying, you need to turn off for a while. So art is, and I firmly believe that this is one of the reasons why, for me, art is not just a vehicle for me to entertain people. It's a vehicle for me to help people escape and to enlighten them, to educate them, and to entertain them. So what used to be 3 E's, the enlighten, educate, and entertain, maybe it's 4. Maybe escape needs to be added in there. Because in this world right now in which we live, if we don't have our own personal escapes, I don't know that we're going to make it. Because there is so much, yes, there's a lot of good going on. There's so much good going on. But there's an awful lot of bad things happening. And to survive that, you need an escape. And if you don't have one, turn to art. Write a story. Write a song. Listen to songs. Dance. Go audition for a play. Make a movie. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, dive deeper into it than you've ever dived. And that escape might very well be the thing that helps you survive, whatever it is that you are struggling through. Art can be therapeutic, physically, mentally, emotionally. Now, and I'm not saying that it should take the place of a therapist if you need one, and there's no shame in needing one. But if you need an escape from the world, turn to art. It's a safe and beautiful thing to experience. And there are a lot of us out there doing the same thing. I use it so much that sometimes reality escapes me. So, I know we're all suffering from one thing or another. But at the same time, we all have the means with which to survive it. And if art doesn't help, reach out to somebody. Call somebody. Go visit somebody. Hug somebody. Whatever you need. Anyway, Muse. I don't want to dive too deep into this. Or actually, I already have. I don't want to continue on. I need to let it go. I need to let it go. I need to venture back into the world of reality. And I got to go people for a while. I know. I don't want to go people, but I have to. Because there are a lot of people out there peopling. And when people start peopling, things get rough. Anyway, thank you, Muse, for listening to me. And thank you for being there for me. And giving me all these fantastic ideas that I get to impart onto other people. Because Muse, you, yes, are awesome.